You did? No, you didn't.
Austin, you set your rebounding high in the first half. Just what was it? Just having that rebound mentality to get these guys going.
That's kind of like my mentality coming into every game. Basically, just going and get as many rebounds as I can. Because I know it may seem like a little statistic, but especially offensive, it creates extra possessions. That's just one thing I know I can keep consistent every night is my rebounding effort.
You guys were put in a tough position when Joey fouls less than 3 minutes into the game, and then obviously you come in and put up the best rebounding performance of your life. Was that?
Yeah, we just got a lot of guys that can play. I really like this year's group. Really talented overall, really deep. So I think it's just it just shows that it's kind of a next man up, and we got guys across the board that can play no matter what.
What did you guys learn or take from the Kentucky trip and bring back here?
I'd say, obviously the result wasn't what we wanted. We did see some, obviously some areas for growth. We watched, the whole game as a team, but we also saw some good things. We had some decent stretches at Kentucky where we felt like, we could hang with them if we, just moved the ball a little bit better and sharpened up on defense. So there was some encouraging things, and it just kind of showed us like how good we can be and our potential as a team if we just keep getting better.
When you come off a game like that, because you don't play guys like that all the time, did you feel that when you were playing in this game and when you went into it, like you were taking that stuff into it, it seemed to apply?
Yeah, I think so. We put a lot of emphasis on cleaning up defensively in the last couple of days of practice, and then swinging the ball a little bit more. So I think we did a better job of that, at least swinging the ball tonight. But defensively, we still got to get sharper.
Trey, when Keith was mentioning about the shot selection at times when you guys are going cold, how did you maybe take that and just be a little bit smarter with the shots? You guys were at 47-3 tonight.
In practice, he always talked about shot selection and sharing the ball. So he put that emphasis. Just if we share the ball more, we'll get better shots. So we're just trying to stick to that plan and just hope to adapt throughout the season.
Speaking of sharing the ball, you had 21 assists as a team tonight. Just Austin said something maybe you guys hadn't done last season. Just how nice is that to have that connection this early as a team?
That's definitely big. We got guards that love to share the ball, and then when we get it inside, we got bigs that like to as well, and have the ability to go inside out and create for others. So it's just really encouraging.
Trey, last week in the game against Montana, you led the team in assists while Day was perfect from the field. Today, you were perfect from the field, and Day led the team.
Oh yeah, that is crazy. I didn't even know that. I didn't even realize that. But trying to keep working on sharing the ball and just staying consistent with it. So that's about it.
Jimmy, in the second half, you had a couple of big defensive plays when it comes to getting steals. How is it, regardless of score, are you able to keep the energy up at a high level no matter what the time?
My main goal is just go out there, do whatever the coach needs me to do to win, and just play hard. So that's why I like to base my game off of, just playing hard, and then try to help bring others along so we can all be on the same page and keep playing hard.
Austin, last year you guys had a lot of depth issues when it came to the front court. This year, tons of bigs. What has been the biggest difference from a day-to-day standpoint from practice? How the front court players sort of work?
Yeah, it's kind of like an iron sharpens iron thing. We got good older guys, and then we got some really good freshmen and guys who are newer. So it's really just if you don't bring it in practice, it's kind of like you may get exposed a little bit, and you're playing for your spot. So it really forces us to pick our game up every day, to try to make each other better, and then also the older guys are able to teach the younger guys some stuff and try to develop them. So it's a really good dynamic. I like our front court depth.
Austin, as a team, you don't like repeating mistakes, but when they miss a shot and they were crashing the boards and getting easy second chance opportunities, how do you correct things like that, whether it's positioning, ball watching, in practice?
Um, I'd say a lot of the times, some of our issues come when the bigs come over and block. So they're kind of out of position because they try to come block the shot. So it ends up being a whole team effort because the bigs taken out of the play. So the other four guys and some of the guards even have to, do a little better job of correcting the mistake and hitting the bigs. So there's no rebounding opportunity for the offense.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, guys.
So after Kentucky, what we talked about was just trying to share the ball better, playing the right way. I think we really hit Trey Clark hard, and I thought he really did a really good job of, really attacking the basket but making the right play. Yeah, I mean, they played South Carolina right down to the last possession, so we were a little nervous, and we're a little bit nervous about their full court pressure because we really haven't seen much of it other than when we play against each other. So we did a good job with that. Like we're still like a search and discover. We're still in search and discover mode, like trying to figure out the right combinations because we have a lot of guys. So that's probably the hardest thing for me.
The decision making at Kentucky, I know when you guys went dry was something that was being discussed, but how much did you like your 21 assists against 11 turnovers? And generally, it seemed like there were a lot more positives tonight. Just how much did you like avoiding repeating the big mistakes?
Well, they chose to press, which opened them up, which allowed us to get assists. But it's hard because we can shoot the ball at multiple spots. So like if you can shoot the ball at multiple spots and people pressure you, you can make them pay the price. And we got some good valuable experience for some of our young guys, which is key for us. We came into the game a little banged up with Joe Reese has a hip pointer. RJ had a little foot issue, so we didn't know like who could play. And then obviously we got a little limitation on Rotroff. But Rotroff's played is like even last year before he got hurt, he's been playing at a super high level, like rebounding the ball at a crazy clip. So he's really turned into a pretty good player.
You decided not to bring Q out
I don't think it was so much him. Like I didn't like a couple of his plays in the first half, but I don't like a lot of plays. It was more like trying to get Tevin ready to play. You know, we need to get him out there so he can get his sea legs. You can see he's a really good shooter, and you'd never know it because he's wobbly legged. So it's more just trying to push him, and then eventually we'll play Q and Matoush and those guys less at the point because Kareem's played at a high level. So those two will kind of split it up with obviously Tevin getting more than Kareem, but Kareem's a really good substitute right now. He's going to be a really good player. He's the leader of the group. He plays hard. He's learning. He's a winner, and so he's hard to keep out of there because he doesn't do anything spectacular, but he doesn't hurt you at all. So I'm really happy with where he's at.
Coach, who's the freshman who brought off the bench first and played some great weeks and he played extended minutes, especially in the second half. What about his game and his development early on have you like and been able to give him more playing?
Super talented. He's just a work in progress, though. Just emotionally and mentally, we have to get him more, tuned in. But athletically, he's more athletic than all of them. Andy could shoot the ball, although you couldn't tell tonight at the free throw line. He was shooting bottle rockets up there, but he's capable of shooting the ball from the perimeter as well. He had a hard time physically, I thought, keeping guys off the glass, which he has to get better at. But he's a super talented guy. Both him and Chabi. Chabi Barre is another talented guy, So we just got to get him back healthy. So.
You talked about some of the how much better do you sleep this year compared to last? Now you have all the depth. So got someone like Reese out there where you can put into the first energy.
It's a great point. Like we came in banged up at a couple spots, and we still had a lot of guys. That helps you. Like Trey Williams played 12 minutes. Like he was playing 33 minutes a game last year at the 5 spot. So our margin of error is 100 times better than it was. Like we're gonna find out. We still have a lot of development, just mentally. But like Colgate will be a tough game, but we're going to end up being a pretty good team, I think, before it's over. I'd be surprised if we weren't. We have to keep developing because we have so many new guys.
That's the minutes so far being fairly spread out. That's something that you would like to do when it comes to being able to become a point where the rotation's going to have to shorten and there's going to be a clear hierarchy when it comes to getting those 25, 30 minutes.
So most of the good teams in this league play about 8 guys, right? So that's why we're trying to full court pressure more and run more so that we can play more guys so that we don't have a lot of unhappy people. But that's why the last 6 minutes of the game may seem unimportant to most people, but it's important to me because we have Matoush out there, we have Kareem out there, we have Quincy McGriff out there, we have Dixon out there. So like they're earning their minutes during that time. And if they don't play well, then their minutes are affected. So it's a great question. I would assume that instead of playing 12, I think we played 12 tonight. I don't see us playing more than, not counting, I would assume that it'll get cut back a little bit and it'll just be based on who's playing well and who isn't. It's simple as that, really. But the good thing is if we get an injury or two, we can withstand it. There's a couple spots we can't. Like we really don't want to have the injury to Brewer. That's a tough spot for us, but we can withstand some other ones.
You look at Day-Day's performances in the first 2 games, super high and super low, and this one doesn't score as much, but actually leads the team in assists. Well, what do you think about his game so far, not just tonight, but just sort of overall, where sort of he plays?
I think he's just scratching the surface, to be quite honest. Like he's still a work in progress. He's capable of being a much better player all the way around. And the good thing about it is he's willing to try to work on the things he's not very good at. Or he's average at. So I think he's one of the better shooters in the league. Probably, he can stand there and make. Um, he had a tough time at Kentucky. We just got to keep building on adversity, handling bad play, because everybody goes through it. And but he's trying to get better. So I thought I laughed at the stat sheet when I saw it. Not to digress, but 5 points, 6 points, 13 points, 14 points, 6 points, 7 points, 6 points, 7 points, 9 points, 4 points, 8 points, 9 points, 2 points, 0 points. It's the craziest 96 I've ever seen in my life, And it takes a special group of guys to accept that, because it's guys like to score. So that's going to be, as we go here, that's going to be the key as to how we react to less minutes, less shots. But we're capable of getting better. We have a lot of work to do, but I think another month or so we could be formidable.
Devin did not play tonight. Is the red shirt a possibility for him? And if so, if it is, then what are you looking for to improve on moving forward?
I thought we announced it already.
What would you look
Did we announce it, Dave, or was it was out there, right?
It's been out there, but officially being asked.
Yeah, right now he's going redshirt, which is in his best interest. We got a bunch of those old guards. Like, why waste a year? Like Joe Reese, if you look at his, I think, Dave, what he play the first year at ODU? I think he played like 48 minutes, lost the whole year. That's a joke. Like, that's not even fair to the kid. So I don't want to do that to him. We don't know like what can happen a month from now, but even so, like, unless you can guarantee somebody minutes, you don't want to waste that for a young man. I wouldn't want that done to me. So like, he has to work hard, but he has a chance to be a good player. He's going to learn a lot, and everybody learns at a different pace too. That's the other thing.
Joyce gets to go back to his alma mater. So far now, you've got 8 games under your belt. What's been your experience coaching alongside a former player?
Well, they're all it's not different for me because they all played for me. Other than Andy Allison, I don't know. He played at Youngstown State, but all our main guys played for me. So Charles played for me 100 years ago at Eastern Michigan, and so it's just good to have Drew there because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him and his family. So he gave me the opportunity to coach them, and we did so well there that people gave me another opportunity. So I've said it many times. He was the one that made the decision to come to St. V, not Braun and the other guys. He was the leader of the group. So when he made the decision, he resurrected my career. So that's what's fun for me. I've known him since he was 12 years old, and now he's 37. So it's hard to believe. It means I'm old as hell, right?
So do you think the Colgate offers you a different test? They're very offensive friendly from the backcourt perspective, deliberate with the ball, even without Delly Cummings, should be a contender again, Patriot League. Would there be like sort of a similar defensive style when it comes to using Byron Fresh, or will there be any changes you make just for this?
We're going to try not to make changes. Like, I think the more we can get in a groove as to how we want to play, it may be a mixture of pressure. It could be full court man. It could be diamond. It could be something else. But I think that's the way we should play. I don't think we're great at it yet, but I think we have capabilities. Even if you get 1 or 2 spurts out of it, it's worth it, as long as you're not giving up anything at the back end of it. And so if they quick hit you, you have to be able to go into something else. And I've coached that way before. I coached that way at Ashland. I coached that way at St. V. I actually like playing that way. You wouldn't know it from watching my teams over the last 10 years, but it's more fun. It's more fun for the fans. It's more fun for the players. Just like it. Yeah, I think the one thing we have is we have big guys that can run. Even Rotroff runs pretty good. He may not be as quick laterally, but he moves. And then we have good quickness in the backcourt. We do. So, you got to pick and choose it. Even the the Havoc, right? It's not really Havoc anymore. They don't really bring it all the time like they used to. They just keep the mantra alive, but it's so they pick and choose too. And same thing with playing zone. We didn't play 8 a night, but we played more this year than we have in the 5 years previous. So even an old dog learns a new trick. What else you got? Anything else?
Do you have a question concerning the returning players, like with Beasley, Rotrock, and Trey Williams? What have you sensed from their mindset, their how they're sort of treating everything, going from getting 30, 35 minutes to being a focal point on losing teams, but so far, minus the Kentucky game, sort of looking good so far. Is it a case where you're hoping that more winning will offset losing the minutes, or is it something that you're mindful so far right now?
That's a unbelievably good question. I mean, it's never easy even when you're winning, to give up something. And young people, they really don't like to give up stuff, right? But I would say, from my perspective, it's probably been the hardest on Kevin because he's played the least. So that's really hard on him. He's always played. So I feel for him, and we're going to keep working with him to try to get him more minutes, but he has to earn the minutes. But we have to handle him well. We have to keep working with him. Rotroff is he's so used to it that it doesn't even faze him. So, he's rebounding at a clip that's unbelievable. And like I said, he played that way last year. So I don't think it's a fluke. I just think he just found his niche. RJ Gunn, he's used to playing a lot too, right? Doesn't seem to affect him much. And Trey Williams, it's got to be hard on him because he's used to playing. I mean, he played every minute at Indiana State almost too. So, but I will say this: after you go through a year like last year, you sure don't want to go through it again. So you do what you have to do. But I think those guys will continue to play more. As we go. It's just hard to tell. It's a hard juggling act, really. Once we moved Trey Williams to the 4, it became a hard juggle. Now we can play him at the 5 some if we want, which that could be a possibility down the line too, depending on how Dixon develops and how Chabi develops. That could be the next part of it where those guys' minutes could get more because we went that direction. It's hard to know. And then we could push RJ to the 3 spot too, which is another. So let's say one of those 2 wingers or both wingers don't play well, then we could go the other direction there too. I sound like a soccer coach, a winger, huh? Anything else, Zach? You're a bit quiet tonight, man. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue?
No, just my wardrobe.
Okay.
If I was to ask you, just because I know you watch college basketball throughout, looking at the A10 for the first week, and have some interesting results. Don't necessarily want to ask you about where you think you stand, but just sort of, is there anything in the conference, top to bottom, that has surprised you, and sort of who's even looked impressive, better than people expected besides you guys?
So I'll ask you the question first. You answer it first.
I would say LaSalle, when it comes to we all know Fran Dunphy is going to have a competitive defense. He's on the Twins. He's going to upgrade that. I think offensively they're fine. But Chicago's hurt, so it's kind of hard to judge.
How hurt are they?
They don't have Marquise Taylor.
That's the 6th man of the year last year.
Yeah, so he's out, and Philip Alston was hurt too. So I think people had higher expectations for Braden Freeman, who stayed in the conference, but he's out of.
So they've been a little disappointing to you.
Yeah, they lost 2 games they should have won. And I think with Archie Miller's name, we sort of expected them.
But that's kind of how he started Dayton as well, right? Kind of took him a little time. Who else? So St. Louis, Dayton clearly look like the front runners, right? VCU will be up in there. Richmond, I haven't seen them play, so it's hard for me to judge.
They were in overtime against Paul's right
So everybody's been pretty high on Richmond overall, right? Like for the most part. All right, Tristan. Overall, people have been pretty high on Richmond, which is kind of a little bit like I know they have really good players. He's a really good coach, but it's a little surprising considering how many they lost. Like when you lose a guy like Jacob Gilliard, that's a hard. I don't care who you get, it's a hard replacement, right? And then you figure all those other old guys they had. Now they have some good players back as well. So anyway, to answer the question, LaSalle doesn't surprise me at all. You know, between Fran Dunphy and Joe Mahalik, you know, you're talking about 1,000 years of coaching. Now that doesn't mean anything if you don't have pretty good players. They have three good perimeter players in Brantley, Nickelberry, and Brickus. So they got very good experience in the backcourt. The question will be how good they are in the front court to play in the league. But they'll play zone and some things like that as well. So that doesn't really surprise me. George Washington doesn't surprise me. They got pretty good players overall, and he's been around a lot of good players. So he's a first-year coach, but that doesn't really mean much for as long as he's coached. Yeah, not surprising though. Yeah, they're pretty good. Um, Rhode Island, not surprising because I don't know if they have any big people. So, you know, when you lose the big people, they lost. Um, UMass, about what I expected. Um, I haven't really watched a lot of these people. Who'd I miss? George Mason. Who'd they lose? Schwartz. I mean, they're. I think the. I think the top three are pretty well defined, and then George Mason should be close in there. Yeah, Davidson's another one that's. I can't. I haven't really watched him yet, but I can't quite put my finger on it yet because you lose guys like you know Lee and Brakovich. That's a lot. Now they got some good, you know, and they're system based, but I can't imagine that like that's going to be easy. I think they're pretty good. And I think Loyola, the jump the jump will affect them because they're going to have to play every night in this league. You know that'll be an interesting dynamic as well. Shaka scrimmaged them, so I talked to Shaka a little bit, so I have some thoughts, but I can't really share those thoughts. Um, it's a good league, man. I mean, you anybody can beat anybody every single night, but those top tier teams are pretty well defined.
You feel like you match up with them better this year?
Our whole thing's going to be if we can have the discipline to play. If we have enough discipline to take good shots when it really matters and defend when it really matters against good teams. You know, when we were good in this league, we mauled people at the 4 spot. And we held our own at the 5 spot because Mike Hughes blocked a lot of shots and he could score a little bit in there. And we had a pretty good point guard in Sincere, and Tavian could fling them in pretty good. But we really won because we mauled people inside. And so we're going to have to develop that part. You saw at the end, I tried to throw it inside a little bit more. And we're going to have to be able to score in there a little bit otherwise we're playing like everybody else in the league, which I really don't want to do that because we can't do that. I don't think we're going to win like that. But I think we can. I don't know. I'd be disappointed if we couldn't hold our own with about everybody in the league. I'm not saying we're going to win them all, but I think we have enough size, enough strength. We have good back. We got an old backcourt. We've got guys that played in a lot of games. I think when Tevin comes on and really gets his legs underneath him, I think we'll take another jump because you could see it tonight. He moved the ball, and that stuff becomes contagious. Now he can't make a shot yet, but he's a really good shooter. He's rubber legged right now. So I think it ain't gonna be easy, but I think we're on our way to being able to compete again. I mean, we didn't compete much last year, so we couldn't. We did the best we could. Good.